To understand the attack on President Kennedy, it's critical to learn when the shots were fired, and to the best of our ability to understand the nature of those shots. The first reaction by the President occurred just as the limousine turned onto Elm Street. It was clearly recorded in the film taken by 13-year-old Tina Towner. The President raised his hand to wave to the crowd, but within a tiny fraction of a second, he snapped it back, balling his hand into a fist. At the same time that Tina was filming his reaction, her father, standing a short distance further west on Elm Street, snapped a photograph, which gives us a good look at the President's contorted face. We then lose sight of the President for about 7 frames, which were destroyed apparently by the FBI. But when we see him again, we see something that's even more strange. During those deleted frames, President Kennedy had fallen to his left and is now straightening back up. Now, since my earlier presentation on this subject, a few skeptics have tried to refute my argument that this was a reaction to a gunshot. Their most common argument is that I can't prove the reactions weren't caused by something else. Maybe JFK just got sick then, or maybe he was attacked by a bumblebee or something like that. Look, folks, you will never find a photo or another video in which you will see President Kennedy react like that, either in Dallas or for that matter during his entire life. And those reactions took place about 4 to 5 seconds before the man was shot in the back. It's just ludicrous to think it was a coincidence that he reacted when he did. And those reactions took place just as the limo was exposed to the windows on the west side of the Daltex building. Fired from a low-caliber suppressed weapon, the shots would have sounded something like this. When that happened, the President was exposed to people who were positioned behind windows on that side of the building, including this window on the 3rd floor. I believe that the irregularly shaped darkened area suggests that the window has been broken and that a small section of the blinds were cut out to allow a sniper to target the President. Of course, skeptics have done their best to refute my argument. They argue that it was actually darker in the background behind the 2nd floor window. Therefore, the window on the 3rd floor must not have actually been broken. But fortunately, another photo was taken on the afternoon of the assassination at about 3 o'clock by Lieutenant Carl Day of the Dallas Police Department. When we zoom in on that photo, we see the same damaged area of that 3rd floor window that we saw in the Alton's photo. By blowing up the image, the darkened areas appear fuzzy around the edges, which makes them appear a bit larger than they really were. But there is no doubt that they are the equivalent to what we saw in the Alton's photo. Notice that unlike any of the other windows, the darkened areas are only partial, both vertically and horizontally, and they do not extend all the way across that window. And we see the same thing in other photos and films that were taken that day. Compare that 3rd floor window with the 2nd floor window below it. We also see that a slightly larger darkened area appears in the adjoining window. We see that in other photos and films as well. Notice that in the adjoining window, we also see apparent damage in only a partial section in that bottom left-hand area. What we see in every set of windows in this part of the building is that the darkened areas extend all the way across the window. And that is quite predictable. And of course it's obvious that in the second floor windows, the blinds are pulled up. But on the third floor, the blinds are down. In fact, in the Altgens photo, we can see the outline of the white cords which hold the blinds together. Of course, on this particular window, there are no wooden slats in the bottom section as there are in the upper section. But look at the ones on the left side. The bottom and the top sections do not align with each other. That's because there's a break between the top and bottom sections, which could only have been the result of the cord being cut. The other thing that's unique about that third floor is that it's where the only professional criminal to be arrested in Dealey Plaza that day was discovered. Of course, that was Jim Braden, who just coincidentally, of course, happened to be in the Cabana Hotel where Jack Ruby was the night before the assassination. And Braden had connections to Carlos Marcello, who swore that he would kill Kennedy before the assassination and unwittingly confessed to an FBI informant that he ordered the murder and that his accomplice was David Ferry. And in fact, Braden worked on the same floor in the same building in New Orleans where Ferry came to regularly pick up his mail. According to Sheriff's Deputy C.L. Lewis, Braden first admitted that he was in the Daltex building during the assassination. But after he was taken in for questioning, Braden changed his story, claiming that he didn't go in the building until after the assassination was over. He later told the House Select Committee on Assassinations that he was in his parole officer's office then, but his parole officer, Roger Carroll, flatly denied Braden's alibi. Now, it's been argued that this man was Jim Braden. Wearing the dark glasses and the hat, I don't know how anyone could be certain of that. But if it really was Braden, then we are seeing him long after the assassination was over, listening to Charles Brem confirm that JFK was dead, after which Braden apparently ran back into the building to use the phone. Doesn't it make sense that he would want to call one of his bosses to let them know the assassination was a success? There is much more to all this, of course. To learn more, please click on the link above to view my presentation, which covers the shooting in Dealey Plaza from start to finish. Thanks for listening, folks. My name is Bob Harris.